कुन्देन्दु तुषारहारधवला
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहारधवला
या शुभ्रवस्त्रान्विता
या शुभ्रवस्त्रान्विता
या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा
या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा
या श्वेतपद्मासना
या श्वेतपद्मासना
या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिर्देवैः
या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिर्देवैः
सदा पूजिता
सदा पूजिता
सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती
सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती
निःशेषजाड्यापहा
निःशेषजाड्यापहा
ॐ सहना भवतु
ॐ सहना भवतु
सहनौ भुनक्तु
सहनौ भुनक्तु
सह वीर्यं करवावहै
सह वीर्यं करवावहै
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै
तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. So last time we were talking about Sita Rama Kalyana. We saw the significance of Kalyana. Does anyone remember what is Kalyana? Why do we celebrate the marriage of divine couple again and again? Anybody remember? What are we celebrating there? Anybody remember? Adults? So there are only two things worth remembering or celebrating, yeah?
One of them is good over evil.
Okay, one of them is good over evil. The other one? The most important
Joy,
thing is
bliss.
The day
Huh?
you
To get the
The
bliss.
day you get it.
you get the bliss.
You are blissful.
The day you unite with the joy, yeah? So basically that is what we truly own. That's what we truly ours. So there are two things that are worth celebrating in this entire universe is when we get what we truly own, or when we get what is truly ours. The second thing is destroying any obstructions in the way, like basically enemies. So in Sita Rama Kalyana we are celebrating the first thing. The Sita, who represents the supreme power, what we call Para Prakriti, or the supreme ultimate nature, unites with the bliss of the supreme, to whom she truly belongs. So it's basically you have all your powers, and you don't know that you have your powers. And not only that, you are using the powers, and you are constantly mesmerized and distracted, and you forgot that you are the owner of that power. And that's how the whole world is. Have you ever seen a little infant playing and mesmerized with its own hand? So when the infants, they bring their toe and put it in their mouth, and they suckle their big toe, and they put their fingers and they suck, and they move their hands, and because they don't know it's their own hand. They are so mesmerized with all these shapes and forms, and everything is bewildering to them. But the movement they create with their own hands, with their own feet, they think that it is some kind of a magic happening. But only when they recognize it is their own power, then they will learn to keep their hands aside, put them aside. So now you can sit tight with your hands, legs locked, and when you say don't move, you won't move. When you say close eyes, you close eyes, because you know you have that power. So in the same way, this entire universe is weaved as a huge circus, like as a big web, by our own power, our own creation, our own creating power. And that power is Sita. And the owner of that power is Rama. So we are celebrating uniting of that power back to Rama. So Rama has recognized, decimated all enemies, got his power right next to him. Then he is not running around anymore. He's not chasing anybody anywhere. He's sitting in Ayodhya. So that is the symbolism of Kalyana. We celebrate that. In the same way, when we become realized, that when we become really like yogis, when we recognize that this entire universe is my own projection, my own creation, then you retract all that power, put it next to you, and sit established fully in yourself. And that is Kalyana, celebrated that way for the worldly people. But the real symbolism is that. Anyway, this is a complex idea. But now let's switch back to the story that we are running. What is the storyline that we are running before Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha? Right? Hiranyakashipu, he thought that this whole world is his pleasure house. He thought that there are so many beautiful toys, so many beautiful things in the world, and this world is a place where you have all your pleasures, all your pleasure objects, all your play toys, and everything is in this world. That is the mindset. But out of this mindset, because Hiranyakashipu is always considering this to be the pleasure house, pleasure can come in multiple different ways. How can it come? Can you tell one mode of getting pleasures or happiness? Yeah?
His sons.
Sons.
His
Yeah?
Ahlada, Prahlada, Samhlada. Well, Simhika's just torture, so I don't think that.
Simhika, yeah, tormentor.
Then
Yeah?
Hlada.
Conquering lands and then bringing them under his rule and feeling proud of what he has achieved.
Yeah, so that is one mode of pleasure that he is having, and that is symbolized by, as she said, Hlada, Anuhlada, Samhlada, and then Simhika. So Hlada means the joy that you get when you think about an object of your desire. You think of a Rasagulla or something in your head, then your face is lightened up. And that is Hlada. And then you go to the shop and actually you see it in front of you. So you have it in your hand, it's right there. That is Anuhlada. Anu means to follow, Hlada means joy. You're getting joy following after what you desire. And then you take it, consume it, then you really enjoy the pleasure in it. That is Samhlada. And all this thing is initiated by something like is hidden called Simhika. Simhika means tormentor. Simha means lion. Lion got the name because it violates and rips around, it torments everything. So Simhika is tormentor. So if you don't get any of your pleasures, what happens? Simhika, the tormentor, will be tormenting you. But there is a different mode of pleasure and joy and bliss. That is Prahlada. It is firmly within us. How do we know it is firmly within us? Let us say I like Rasagulla. Okay? So is the joy, pleasure in the Rasagulla or is it in me? Okay, let us say it is in the Rasagulla. So you are given one. Okay? So you get one count of happiness. Second one, 2 counts. Third one, 3 counts. Fourth one, your happiness is decreasing. 10 Rasagullas were given to you. What happens? You become extremely unhappy. Start vomiting, right? So if happiness is in Rasagulla, the more you take, you should get more and more happy.
So then the happiness is in us.
It's inside, yeah.
But the Rasgulla is just something that's like that you're using to get out the happiness.
Yeah, it is used as an instrument. Yeah.
What if it's not just Rasagulla, but you eat Rasagulla, then you eat a jalebi, then you eat a murukku, and then you watch TV, you go outside, you play soccer, you come back home, you watch TV, you eat Rasagulla. What about that?
Yeah, you can do that. So if you continuously keep happiness that way, just eating TV, Rasagulla, or spicy stuff, and then watch the TV and then go back, then your health ruins. Then
You're not happy.
you're not happy anymore. Yeah? So it is a simple exercise to say that happiness is not in any of those external objects. There is some checklist in your head. To satisfy our tummy, you don't need to eat rasgulla. You can just eat papannu. Right? Or you can eat bread and some kind of spread on it.
Nutella.
Huh? Nutella or whatever. But you said Nutella because you're thinking happiness is in Nutella. Why not hummus? Or why not avocado? Why not just banana? So anyway, the pleasure is not outside. It is inside. But we have all these checklists. If we are hungry, then we become unhappy. The body requires something, so you feed it. As soon as that is fulfilled, you are happy. So the happiness is coming from within. And to recognize that the happiness is firmly here, it is not in the objects elsewhere, is prahlada. So the happiness is truly within you. Of course, your body requires something. When you are tired, you need to sleep. That is what body is asking for. When you are hungry, you need food, because that's what body is asking for. When you are thirsty, you need to give water. That's what body is asking for. If you don't give it to the body will complain. Right? So you treat the body, but for you, what gives happiness is right within us. And that is our own property. Nobody can take it away from us because it is right within us. But we have been running like a chicken with its head cut off all around, trying to find happiness. It's like somebody wants to go east, from here, you need to go east to go to Sacramento. So they ran and caught a bus that is going west. What happens? They're running away from their goal, right? So in the same way, we are thinking that the happiness is outside. It's somewhere in this object in Rasgulla. Happiness is somewhere out there in TV. Happiness is out there in Hawaii. So like that, we are constantly running outside. And that gives rise to halada, anuhalada, samhalada mode of happiness. That is also needed. But the happiness is verily within us. And if we miss this, if we completely lost it, then we have lost a treasure. So we need to identify that happiness is within us also, and then have all the methods to go inward. So that mode is prahlada mode. And of course, if you find somebody who's not doing anything, just sitting quietly under a peepal tree, peepal tree, big banyan tree, and just a bark they are wearing, they're happy with a little bit of water and maybe whatever food, and they're sitting quietly. Then all these communists and all these people will come and started cursing this fellow. You are a parasite, you are useless in the society, you are not going to a factory and you are not working. So this mode will get activated. A mode that tries to kill or discourage the prahlada nature is always there. Even within us, this mode is there that always suppresses prahlada. Always asks you to go out. Go get stuff, go get things done, acquire more than you need. Even if it causes harm to the planet, go acquire more. So that mode is really the Hiranyakashipu mode. So that's why Hiranyakashipu always hated his best child, Prahlada. He wanted to torment him. So how he tormented him? The story goes like in interesting ways. They try to take and throw him over the mountain. They throw him into the ocean. They bring elephants to walk over him. He gets bitten by all the serpents. They try to break his body, cut his body with weapons. All these modes are very symbolic. I'm not going to discuss about the symbolism, but understand that the Hiranyakashipu mode that we have always tramples on the Prahlada mode. But it is very important, Prahlada mode is the only way to take us close to the real self, who we are, and real happiness. If you are constantly disturbed by fear, anxiety, worry of losing things, you will not be able to accomplish anything. If you are preparing for an exam, you have an exam 2 days later, and you are constantly worried about getting a bad grade. You are constantly worried that your friends are going to get better score than you. Worried about competitors. You will not be able to function. So in order to do any reasonable study, you need some kind of a peace within you, right? You have to be peaceful. You have to have full trust that your hard work will pay off, and you work hard without getting anxious, without getting frightened by any of these things, or without getting distracted. And where is that coming from? That restfulness within, where is that coming from? Prahlada. Because that is within you. So let us say if we get a disease, we got a flu or something. So then we are sneezing and headache, fever and all that stuff. Then you take medication. Then everything is cured. So did anything change in you after it is cured? You are now healthy. Did anything new added to your body? Something called healthiness? Something like health, a little ball was added into your body by taking the pills? No? It is always there. You're always healthy. Disease is a foreign thing. You cured the disease to get back your own self. So similarly, that halada, anuhlada, samhlada, simhika mode is the disease. Because you're already happy. You're already a prahlada within you. So losing this with the ideas of finding pleasures out there is the disease. So that disease is Hiranyakashipu, and that disease needs to be cured. And how do you cure that disease? Why is this disease coming in the first place? So now the story goes like Hiranyakashipu torments Prahlada. He applied all kinds of methods to terrify him, to kind of cause discomfort or harm to Prahlada. But Prahlada cannot be harmed. It is verily our own stuff. You can cover it, but you can never kill it. You can never harm it. So Hiranyakashipu's all best methods. He was able to kill so many people in all these 3 worlds or 14 worlds, but he is unable to do anything to a little boy. That little boy is still growing. That means the Prahlada nature is still growing within you. So finally, you know what? After trying all these violent methods of even giving him poison didn't work, terrible poison didn't work, throwing him into the ocean didn't work, throwing off a cliff didn't work, trying to trample him with elephants didn't work. Nothing worked. Then finally, he had a guru named Sukracharya. You heard the name Sukracharya, right? Interesting. Sukracharya is guru of Asuras, yeah. And do you know his counterpart, who is the guru of Devas?
Brihaspati.
Brihaspati. Now what is the difference? Yeah?
Brihaspati is the more, Brihaspati is the adhikari of the more sattvic, more knowledge-based granthas, while Sukracharya is the writer and author of the Arthasastra, which is basically the art of gaming.
Yeah, yeah. So
Both are
decent answer.
polar opposites of methods of living.
Polar opposite, yeah, that's a good point. So we have Vedas. Vedas, we said it has dharma, artha, kama, moksha. It talks about all the things, right? It gives everything to us. But there are some people who will interpret Vedas with the right purpose, right spirit of Veda. Veda spirit is basically to give, yeah?
Sukracharya didn't study the Vedas with the right purpose.
Yeah, he is also a Vedic scholar, but he applied them in a different purpose. So their application is different. Brihaspati's application is take Vedas and apply them to the spirit, the exact spirit of them. But Sukracharya took Vedas and applied them for worldly pleasures. So that is the difference. That's why he is the guru of Asuras. And Brihaspati is guru of Devas. So Devas means all the inner meaning, the actual real essence of Vedas are not lost. They are grasped perfectly. Asura means all the teaching is applied for pleasures. Asura means bhoga vritti. Everything that takes us towards sense pleasures, sense-based enjoyment and all that. So that is the difference. And you might find an interesting story. I think you might know it. So Sukracharya has something called Sanjeevani. Sanjeevani Vidya. So the Rakshasas go to a battle, they all get killed, and in the evening Sukracharya will administer this medicine, Sanjeevani, on them. Everybody will come back up. But Devas didn't have anything like that for a very, very, very long time. And that's the reason why, they were really worried. When they come and beat us, we die and nobody is waking up. We are losing our strength, our people. But whereas we go and kill asuras and they die, but somehow Sukracharya administered the Sanjeevani and everybody will come back up. So that's why they did Amruta Madhanam, the Kshirosagar Madhanam, to get the nectar of immortality. But what does that mean? Sukracharya, what does it mean? It means that the asuras means sense pleasures. You might get tired of eating gulab jamun today and you go to bed and tomorrow you're ready to eat again. More of them, right? We are doing all kinds of various activities in the world. We get tired, fine, but with rest, everything will come back up. Not only that, when you see a hope that there is more to get, a bright future of getting these pleasures again, your energy comes back up. So you're tired and you got a little bit of fever, and mommy gave you some charanam, papanam, this. They say, no, I want to eat, I don't want to eat. Then they say, okay, we are going to Indian restaurant. Do you want anything? Yes, I want samosa. Because there is a hope to get something in front of you that brings all our tired senses back. That is Sanjeevani. The Sanjeevani is there all the time. The Sukracharya has it all the time. But to get the real immortality is hard work. Lots of hard work. We'll talk about Kshirosagar Madhana later. Yeah?
There's another story that goes like this. The Devas wanted to also get Sanjeevani, so they sent
Kacha.
Kacha,
Kacha
Venus with
Devyani.
his sons to
We'll talk about that story again at a
Kacha
different
and
time.
Devyani and
That's a very deep story with lots of meaning in it. So now the Sukracharya, as we know, is a benefactor of asuras. He takes Veda and interprets in a way so that we can fulfill our desires and we can actually acquire things that we want. Therefore, he is the author of Kama Shastra and Artha Shastra. So, science of desire and science of wealth. That's what he authored. So, they took Prahlada to Sukracharya. Nothing is working. This inherent happiness is not dying. So, the best way to convert this inward happiness, proselytize it, is to teach it theory of wealth and science of desires. And even that did not work on Prahlada. So finally, a dialogue takes place. I think you all probably might have seen some movie, some TV serial somewhere. You have a question?
Did Sukracharya himself, at the first glance of Prahlada, acknowledge that no, I can't do anything to correct him, or did he try and
He tried and failed. So Sukracharya's sons, Chanda and Amarka, those are their names, Chanda and Amarka. They were original teachers of Prahlada for a long time. They couldn't do anything. So they finally got Sukracharya himself. You are the best, to instill desires and wealth, all this kind of mindset in the people. So come on. And as the author of that science, he tried and he failed. He couldn't do anything. So anyway, then finally a dialogue takes place and Hiranyakashipu was really frustrated. What gives you joy? He says, the Vishnu, that is all pervading, and he speaks in the bhakti language. It appears like they are really speaking in bhakti language, but actually Prahlada is explaining the essence of the spirit. So he tells that Vishnu means all pervasive. The happiness is all pervasive. It's there within you, it is there within you, it is there within you, it is there in everything that you perceive. So if you are connected to that, there is no way of getting sad or unhappy any moment. There's always happiness. You are always connected, united with your own self. And they said, how can you say that Vishnu is everywhere? Show me where the Vishnu is. He says, he's there everywhere. Okay, everywhere means what? He says, he is in the earth, he is in the water, he is in the fire, he is in the air, he is in you, he is in me. Oh my goodness, he's in the chair, he's in the bottle, he's in this carpet. If so, can you show me in this big pillar? Is he there in this pillar also? And he says, yes. Then immediately Hiranyakashipu takes a big mace and tries to break the pillar, and it explodes, and then Nrsimha, half lion, half human form comes, and then he takes him and rips him apart.
Wait, is that related to one of his bones? Like he shouldn't be a human. He shouldn't be a
Exactly.
man, and
So
shouldn't
all those conditions, because Hiranyakashipu thought that he is evading death by asking for this convoluted and all claused boon, but basically he was asking that I should die under these specific conditions, and all those specific conditions were met. He is neither a beast nor a human. He is not a divine being like Devas, nor an asura. He is beyond all these. And he manifested not from a womb, not from an egg, not from, he sprouted from earth. He just came from that. And then it's not day, it's not night, it's not outside, it's not inside. He took him right at the threshold, and he didn't use any weapons. And nails cannot be called as weapons, right? And he killed him by tearing the udaram, stomach, and he used his nails called nakhas. Remember that, nakha. Nakha is nail in Sanskrit. Udaram is stomach. For today, we'll just focus only on those two things. But he came out of the pillar, a stambham. What is the pillar? What does it signify? Here is, let's think of a big mansion. So many stories constructed. And how does this mansion stand? We'll continue a little more, Krishna. How does this mansion stand? It has to have a foundation, right? The pillar represents that foundation, basically. It's one single pillar upon which this huge mansion is constructed. So, who is painter here? Who draws or paints? You paint? Okay.
I draw.
You draw? Let's look at that paint over there. There are a lot of colors and everything. Can you tell me one thing, only one thing, that pervades that entire painting?
What is pervades mean?
It is there everywhere in that painting.
Paint.
No, there is a blue paint, a yellow paint, there is this paint, that paint. Huh?
Canvas.
Canvas is there, yeah. Canvas is the background for everything. Yeah, that's a good point.
The roots,
Huh?
the roots,
Trunk.
the trunk of the tree.
Trunk of the tree is there only at one place. It's not pervading the whole thing.
Oh, the
I'll give you an
leaves.
idea.
The
Huh?
leaves,
Yeah, leaves are there only around the tree, not elsewhere.
what else?
Colors.
Brush stroke. How about that? The stroke of the brush pervades the entire painting. And of course, you need the canvas. So the canvas is the supreme Brahman. And the brush stroke that is painting this universe is I, the I-ness. I-ness is called ego sometimes, right? Like for example, I say that there is a star, a constellation named Vegas, which is 25 light years away, right? Now it is in your head. That information is in your head. Vegas, 25 light years away. Its existence depends on who now?
Me.
You, right? That means every knowledge that you have is supported by you. Every liking you have supported by you. I say the rainbow has 7 colors and I show you the rainbow and you see the 7 colors. Where do those 7 colors exist? Where? In you. So without this I, without you, nothing ever exists in this universe. Everything is dependent on I. That's why the I-ness is same as the stroke that pervades the entire painting. It is the pillar that supports the entire mansion. And that's why Hiranyakashipu asked, does this Vishnu exist in this fundamental I? Because he is thinking, I am a different one. I am an individual, I control all the three worlds, I command everybody, I steal everything that I want. All these things are there for my own pleasure. And where is Vishnu? Can he exist in me? And Prahlada's answer is, yes, of course. And for that, what you need to do? You break your ego. And when you reach that point, it's very difficult to reach that point. When you reach that point, it's spontaneously the ego bursts out.
So he broke the stubborn, which was the ego.
Which was the
and then-
ego. And from his own self, from his own ego, came neither a beast nor a human, a creature. And what is the creature's name? Narasimha. We know what is Simha. What does Simha mean?
Lion. And Nara means man or human.
What is the meaning of a lion? Of course it's lion. But what does Simha mean? We talked about Simhika. Tormentor. So there is a tormentor that is making this Hiranyakashipu run like a headless chicken all around, trying to get this and that and that and this. Because he's seeing everything is different. And Nara is derived from a root word called Nru. Nru means Himsayam. Nru means Himsa again. So it's the tormentor of the tormentor. The one who obliterates multiplicity. The one who destroys all this multiple. People think everything is multiple. But there is one thing that is pervading everything. What is that? Vishnu. The all-pervading divinity Vishnu can be only found only when you destroy the multiplicity. So for that you have to really think. Okay, you see a huge painting, so many details in it. But if you think very carefully, what is pervading this whole painting? It is pervaded by your brush stroke. And if you think very carefully, how is this brush stroke enabled to create this enormous painting? Because you have the canvas. And that's the best way to find the canvas, right? And that's what this story shows. The story shows the best way to find the all-pervading true self is go inward and break the ego. Until the ego is broken, you will not be able to find it. Until the ego is there, it will support this mansion of this multiplicity, this enormous circus. Like if you think about the universe, it's unbelievable. It is infinite variations, infinite details, infinite beings. But there is some commonality. If you look at a cell, it has a certain design, an individual cell. It has a nucleus, it has a wall around it, it has some environment in it, molecules, all this. But you take these cells and you build multicellular organisms. Like human beings, you know how many cells we have?
Trillions.
Trillions. Trillions of cells. And we have other cells called bacterial cells. They are not our own. They are not our body. But these bacterial cells, they come and live within us, within our gut, within our nose, everywhere the bacteria is living. Not only that, our cells have learned to absorb a symbiotic bacterium. Long time ago, they absorbed a bacterium called mitochondria. They are the energy sources. You know mitochondria?
Yeah.
Mitochondria is not part of human genome. You know that, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just does the energy production.
Yeah, it's for energy production, cells have absorbed another bacterium into themselves and integrated into their own body. It has its own genome. And if you count that also, the total bodily cells and the actual outsider cells dominate. There are far more outsider cells. So we say that this body is mine. There are so many living things, trillions of living things making this body. We call it ourselves and I own it, this is mine. So that is the mistake. And when you see the design, you will see that there is this uniform life principle pervading everywhere. So Vedas are there to teach us that life principle. Respect that life principle. Respect yourself. Treat your body well. Treat your mind well. Treat others well. Don't harm anybody. So ahimsa and all these great principles are derived from this unity in diversity. How do you eliminate this multiplicity? By going inward and finding out the essence of yourself. And the same essence is there everywhere. So this is what Nrsimha's story and Hiranyakashipu's story teaches us. Okay? And we'll talk about Nakha and Udaram later. Okay, so we'll stop here.